Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome founder and CEO Twilio, Jeff Lawson.
Hey! How's it going? Welcome to Signal. I want to give a special welcome to our live streaming audience, and for the first time ever, our VR streaming audience as well. It is so great to have you all here. You know, here at Twilio, our mission is to fuel the future of communications. That's because we know the future of communications is software. And it's getting built every day, one application at a time, by the software developers of the world, you all. And we want to be the fuel to your fire. That's our mission. And you know, in an age when you can do so much with software, you can literally change the world with a text editor. It's never been a better time to be a doer. And every year we like to honor some of the folks in our community who've done some building and who have been doers in the past year with something we call the Hall of Doers. Let's meet the first two doers of 2016. First up are some doers who built something incredibly cool. See, in case you haven't noticed, it's an election year here in the United States, and an interesting one at that. And they built an SMS app designed to inform people of what's happening in politics in a timely, friendly, conversational way. And it's grown like a weed entirely via word of mouth. See, this lean team of two people created a news service that treats you like a person, not just an anonymous reader. And it's conversational too. See, they craft these daily updates as if you were getting a text from your friend who was really well informed about politics. In fact, I got one last week. It said, "Today is primary day, Jeff. Oregon and Kentucky are voting. Reply live to get real-time updates as things unfold." It's so cool. It's the perfect blend of code and content. And it's called Purple. So please join me in congratulating the first doers of 2016, the co-founders of Purple, Rebecca Harris and David Hyman. Our second doer that we're going to meet right now built something also cool. Imagine a button that you could wear that would alert your loved ones in the event of some kind of personal safety emergency. Our second doer built just that. Her team are a dedicated group of allies and survivors of violence, and they're committed to building safety technology that empower people to keep themselves and those they love safe from harm. The Revelar button is a discreet, wearable device that uses Bluetooth to connect to your phone. In the event of emergency, you hit the button and it texts to your loved ones and lets them know you need help. It sends them a link that takes you to a web page that shows them where you are and the path you've been on since you pressed the button. In fact, Revelar is working with some other people too. They're working with the National Domestic Violence Hotline to get this solution in the hands of more people before they become victims. So please join me in congratulating our second doer of 2016, the CEO and founder of Revelar, Jacqueline Rose. So this has been a year of many milestones for Twilio. In fact, when we started Twilio back in 2008, a lot of smart people told us, you can't build a company for developers. Developers don't have the checkbook. Developers don't make buying decisions. They said it wasn't possible. And so for a company built by developers, for developers, it's really exciting to announce a recent milestone. We now have over 1 million developers in the Twilio community. 1 million. And the applications that you're building do over 75 billion annual API requests to power the communications driving your applications. And those applications in the past year have reached over 1 billion devices on the planet. That is some serious reach for the applications that you all have been busy building. Congratulations. That's what you all have been doing. We've also been doing a lot of stuff as well. See, 18 months ago, Twilio was a company with two product lines, Programmable Voice and Programmable SMS. And in the past 18 months, we've expanded from 2 product lines to 10 product lines. These are all building blocks that you get to use to build better and cooler communications interactions in your apps with your customers. Things like programmable video and IP messaging that are now available for you. And in fact, we have a saying at Twilio, Twilio ships. And in the past 12 months, we've deployed to production 6,643 times. 6,643 times Twilio got better. And to break that down for you, that's 25 production deployments every business day, or 3 every business hour. And if you look at what those production deployments did, we've charted out the burn-up of these production deployments and the major new product lines, or the major new product features that we shipped with those deployments. And all this goes to highlight something that we hold dear at Twilio. That's agility. Because agility is the point of software. The ability to continuously ship, to always get better, to listen to your customers, take feedback, and keep on building. And the way we do this at Twilio is by organizing ourselves into small teams. Teams that are empowered. They own a problem they're solving for a customer. They own the roadmap. They write the code, and they operate it in production. See, we found that ownership is the best way to continuously deliver on innovation. And today, Twilio's R&D team is comprised of over 50 of these small teams, each owning parts of the products that you use all the time. But agility itself is not enough, and small teams themselves are also not enough. In fact, the number one goal of our R&D team that we talk about all the time inside the company is a thing we call agility with resiliency. Or to paraphrase Mark Zuckerberg, move fast, but don't break things. See, all these features would be useless if you couldn't rely on them. And that's what agility with resiliency is all about. See, sometimes people think that these two concepts are at odds with each other, agility and resiliency. But in fact, they're not. And I want to share a story with you. It's a story about a pager. See, a couple of years ago, I was meeting with the CIO of a medium-sized enterprise public company, and we were talking a little bit about Twilio and her infrastructure, when all of a sudden her pager goes off. And she pulls the pager out of its holster, and she looks at it, and she says, and I'm not making this up, this is absolutely a true story. She looks at it and she says, "For the love of God, my Cisco call center is down again." Like right during our meeting. And so, this piqued my curiosity a little bit. And I asked, what would you say the availability is of your in-house solution? And she said, 2 nines. 99.0 availability. So let me get this straight. That so-called enterprise solution is neither agile nor resilient. So what is it? I don't know, but it apparently comes with a pager. The reason is operations is hard. Expert operators know that. A friend of mine who leads all the R&D at Amazon Web Services, a guy named Charlie Bell, has this great saying. He says, anything is reliable until it's not. The reason is there's only two ways to be reliable: luck and engineering. And the thing is, at small scale, you can rely on luck for a period of time. But when you get to large scale, your luck runs out. It's just math. And that's why at Twilio, we have been building a framework to build resiliency with Rigility. We call it our Operational Maturity Model, OMM for short. It is 6 vectors of operational excellence that we have documented. We have built training for all of our small teams. We test those teams, and we continually reevaluate their performance along these 6 vectors. In fact, before a service at Twilio can be considered GA, generally available, they must demonstrate and meet the bar of OMM. We call it Iron Man. That's not luck. That's engineering. And so we've got something of a religion of instrumentation at Twilio. We collect and instrument every part of our stack. In fact, today, we collect almost 70 billion data points a day about what's happening in our infrastructure. We've built things we call test bots, end-to-end testers that exercise each one of our products every minute. And so we find out about an impending issue before you do. And we have our status dashboard, our stashboard. That's how we communicate possible issues to you. And we like communicating those issues because we want you to view Twilio as an extension of your engineering team. And teams communicate with each other. That's what they do. You now have hundreds of communications engineers available to you as an extension of your team. Now, a company that has done a lot of work and in many ways been a pioneer in building resilience at scale and really taken this to a new level is Netflix. What started as Chaos Monkey was actually grown into an entire engineering discipline by our next speaker. Bruce Wong created a discipline called chaos engineering, and it is driving the notion of chaos into building and operating every kind of service at every scale. And Bruce created this. And now he's at Twilio, and he leads a group called Insight Engineering. And so to tell you a bit about how Twilio leverages chaos to get greater insights into our infrastructure every day, please welcome up Bruce Wong.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm going to take us on a small journey about chaos. But first, we have to understand a little bit about failure. Let's say that you have 10 servers, each with 99.95% uptime. And let's say that you have a 10-person startup, and everyone is exceptional, and they only make one mistake a year. And of course, software bugs never, ever make their way into production. Hope and a little bit of luck, and you'll have fairly reasonable uptime. I call this the 1 in a million problem. You see, when 1 in a million takes years to happen, you actually celebrate when you hit a million. The problem is, at scale, 1 in a million happens daily. When you have tens of thousands of servers, orders of magnitude more people, as Jeff said, your luck just runs out. Resilience doesn't happen by accident. The only way to beat the math is to engineer it. As we scale our systems to new record highs, as we extend the global reach of our products, and as we re-architect for performance and efficiency, the resilience design evolves. Simply put, resilience is never done. When I joined Netflix, I was quickly acquainted with failure, thanks to a tool called Chaos Monkey. Chaos Monkey looks for groups of servers and terminates one randomly. every day during business hours. At first, this felt overboard. It felt unnecessary. It even felt unfair. Little did I know that years later, I would create a group called Chaos Engineering that set out to change the way that engineering thought about failure. And while Chaos Monkey was successful and it solved a lot of problems, it wasn't enough. And so we doubled down on failure injection and created Chaos Kong to introduce failure at the region level. You see, at scale, you have to embrace failure before failure embraces you. At Twilio, I'm leading a team called Insight Engineering. It's focused on building next-generation telemetry. And so as we improve our ability to observe failure, it allows us to fine-tune our resilience. And Chaos will help us validate and ensure that we are always making forward progress. We will continue to raise the bar by incorporating all of these best practices into the operational maturity model. Want to hear more about how to prepare your systems and your teams? I'm giving a talk later today called Chaos Patterns, where I talk about the lessons that I've learned about failing well and failing often. Thank you.
Our mission at Salesforce is to allow our customers to connect with their customers in completely new ways. What we want to do is remove the barriers to that technology innovation and allow our customers to do really whatever they want, and communication is central to that.
Uber's mission is to provide transportation as reliable as running water everywhere for everyone. In order to do that, we need to give the right information to the user at the right time.
For the past 3 years, we've been working really closely with Twilio to really deliver on the promise of Zendesk, which is to allow customers to get support wherever they are. The moment when I thought this is cool, just being able to get the first phone call to work fairly quickly, and that just kind of proved how quickly we'd be able to move with Twilio. That gave us a lot of confidence that Twilio would work for us.
We were able to partner with Twilio and build something we're calling Salesforce Voice, which allows us to make phone numbers that are in the Salesforce application clickable, giving people the ability to make phone calls directly out of the Salesforce application and automatically logging that activity in Salesforce really saves our end users a lot of time. When the technology sort of disappears, that's when we've really succeeded.
A lot of times people ask, why don't you just build this thing yourself? You need a set of highly specialized skills and specialized knowledge to tap into voice and SMS carrier integrations. That integration with Twilio takes the cognitive burden of the complexities of communication off of developers, and it puts them in a place where they can focus on building beautiful product. That's the holy grail for developers. They don't want to think about anything else except building. It's because those developer APIs were so simple that the first couple of engineers at Uber decided to use Twilio, and now Twilio, powers a multi-billion-dollar business.
So Twilio is operating at scale, and many of you, our customers, are as well. In fact, it's awesome that so many of our customers are here for the next 2 days, sharing many of their tips and tricks and engineering practices that help them achieve agility with resiliency at scale. So I hope you enjoy many of those sessions we've got for the next 2 days. I wanted to invite one of our customers up on stage to talk a little bit about how they think about scale. And that customer is Uber. So please welcome up Mike Caden from Uber. Mike, awesome to have you here.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
So to start off, tell us a little bit about how Uber thinks about scale.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly I can't tell you exactly what the numbers look like, but I've been at Uber for about 3 years, and every graph I've ever seen has always been up and to the right. I don't know if you've seen the movie Office Space, but where he's talking to the psychiatrist, and he's talking about how every day is the worst day of his life because it just keeps getting worse each day. For us, every single Saturday night is the biggest night we've ever seen. And so, that's the way we think about scale. It's like, if something doesn't work on this Saturday, we only have 5 days before we're going to see even more, which means we need to be way, way, way ahead of the curve. We need to be, 2x, 3x ready, because in a week's time it's going to be even bigger. So it's a big and important focus for us.
Wow, and so you do that though, but you also maintain a lot of agility, right? From the outside looking in, you're shipping, Uber Rush, Uber Eats. There's always like 1,000 experiments and like new lines of business that are being tried out. Is it as agile as it seems?
Yeah, absolutely. And we accomplish that in a very similar way that you just described Twilio accomplishing it, which is that we have a lot of small teams. They're hyper-focused on a particular product area. They're able to quickly iterate and kind of own a particular piece of the product or a piece of the platform, and they move really quickly. We ship the app all the time, once a week. We deploy dozens of times a day. And that allows us to maintain agility. We don't have a team that's stuck behind 25 different gates or approvals or a Gantt chart that's as long as the building is.
And it's not just like those experiments, it's also global, right? And you've got, how many markets are you in now?
Yeah, so when I started at Uber about 3 years ago, it was a couple dozen cities in a few countries. And these days we're in 400 plus cities and almost 70 countries doing 50 different languages. So really the scale of the business is large in terms of, say, number of users or number of trips, but also there's all kinds of interesting challenges that come about when you're trying to take a product which is global in nature, but make it a highly localized experience for users in a wide array of different types of cultures, different types of regulatory environments, different sort of expectations around transportation in different cities. So it requires us to have a really configurable experience. The Uber app that you experience here when you take a ride home at the end of the day, as I'm sure many of you will be really quite a bit different than it would be, say, if you were in Beijing, China, or in Durban, South Africa. And we do that by having a really sophisticated experimentation framework, a really sophisticated configuration framework that allows us to control how the app behaves on a per geo basis. We need to do that actually because our customers, they vary, again, in their culture. So for example, in the United States, we like to text drivers. But if you go, and that's also true, say, in Singapore. But if you go to Mexico or you go to Great Britain, they're about 1/3 as likely to actually want to text drivers and prefer to do a phone call. So we can adjust how the app behaves based on what users expect out of the app.
So one app, but depending on where you open it, it could have one of like almost 500 different presentations of itself.
Absolutely. So if you open the app somewhere else, it might be delivering kittens, or it might be UberX or Uber Eats, or who knows.
And so in order to do that, you must just have a lot of building blocks and a lot of microservices.
Yeah, internally we have 1,000 probably different microservices that power each element of the Uber app, and that allows us to maintain resilience as well. If one of them goes down, we don't lose the whole thing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. Truly impressive, Mike. Let's hear it for Mike Caden.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. All right. So, Uber, Airbnb, Salesforce, Zendesk. You may be wondering, glad that those are customers of yours, Twilio, but what's in it for me? And the answer is collective intelligence. See, Twilio gets better not just when we ship code, but also with every call and every message that traverses our network, Twilio gets better. See, there's a virtuous cycle to it. And virtuous cycles, for some reason, are always printed on napkins. So here you go. It starts with customers. And customers that send volume through our network of calls and messages. And with the more volume that flows through our network, we're able to negotiate deeper connectivity into the global phone network and also get more data in the form of feedback APIs and in the form of data from the network itself about how those networks around the world are performing. And based on that, we can lower prices and increase quality. And when you lower prices and increase quality, that leads you to more customers. And that's the virtuous cycle that we have at Twilio. And we've given it a name. We call it our super network. Now, it's called super network, not just in the superlative sense, like it's marvelous, which we kind of think it is, but really it's more in the literal sense of the word super. Because it's a network that sits above the carriers of the world. We don't own copper wires, we don't own fiber optics, but we interconnect with all the people who do. And we can measure the performance of their networks. And we do this constantly. See, we're running our software in 22 data centers in 7 regions around the world. We have thousands of points of interconnection with carriers around the world. And we ingest billions of data points that allow us to improve our network constantly. And so with all of this infrastructure, legacy solutions, think about what that woman with her Cisco call center had. They sit in the closet and they gather dust. But Twilio gets better every day. You benefit from our global customer base, and that's pretty cool. Now that's just one way in which software is changing the world. But software is changing our companies as well, how we build and operate our companies. See, there used to be a divide between the startups of the world, who you thought of as those who build their own software, and enterprises who just had to buy commercial off-the-shelf solutions. But that divide is narrowing as companies, some of the largest companies on the planet, in some of the oldest industries on the planet, are actually starting to embrace software. Now, some companies are just starting this transformation. A few teams are doing Agile. But other companies are going all in on the software ethos and truly embracing Agile. See, we as developers know that using small building blocks, shipping frequently, being focused on customers and keeping a backlog that we're always updating, right? These are the tools of Agile, and they're what you need to compete in the modern economy. And that ethos is permeating even the oldest of industries. In fact, we've had the pleasure of working with one such company over the past couple of years. This company is one of the largest banks in the world. They operate in 40 countries, and they are going all in on Agile and software. And that company is ING Bank. In fact, with almost 50,000 global employees, they're switching to Agile, not despite their size, but because of it. Because that's the only way that you can move as fast as you need to move to satisfy customer expectations today. In fact, their strategy documents, which are on their website, you can go find them, talk to this. And it's really interesting. They talk about their strategy of moving fast, and they talk about their enablers of how they're going to do it. And the number one enabler for the company is we need to be agile with short reporting lines and the right people empowered to make important decisions quickly. Sound familiar? But what's interesting about this is not just the R&D group. It's not just an innovation team. It's the entire company, from the top down, being told to organize into small teams and act agile. It's amazing. Now, one of those small teams is working on their call centers. And they have a project they call Call Center 2.0. See, they have a problem. ING was formed about 25 years ago with the merger of several banks. And so they ended up with a bunch of different systems. In fact, 17 disparate regional systems that they use for contact centers to talk to their customers, and they need to consolidate those. Because with 17 disparate legacy systems, they get no leverage. They have to make changes 17 different times, compliance, all of it. It's not agile at all. And so one of those teams is tasked with solving this problem. And it's interesting, because once you get the mandate from the top down to be agile, to have small teams, allow them to self-service, provision services, allow them to move fast, and always be shipping, you know there's really only one way you can possibly build that next generation contact center. So I'm really excited to say that out of 6 competitors that were in the mix, Twilio is going to power their next generation call center. And the thing is, the competitors that were in the mix were the usual suspects, the people you'd expect a global bank to go to. But only Twilio and only building blocks allow them to satisfy the needs at scale with all those different business lines that they are. In fact, they're using many of our different products. true omni-channel experience for voice, chat, video, using TaskRouter. They're using these building blocks to build a differentiated experience for their customers. In fact, I have a quote from one of the leaders of this project. And the quote talks about the importance. From Rutger de Smet, he says, "Twilio allows us to treat our contact center as software." Yes, it is so cool. I've been on this stage for 5 years talking about the agility of software. And it warms my heart to see one of the largest companies on the planet embracing that ethos. They're truly at the leading edge of this. And you know, there's another quote as well. He said, with Twilio, we're going from 13 different implementations to one solution for all ING countries. And the key thing about this is that you can't service the needs of many disparate business units across many countries and many continents if you don't have building blocks that you can reconfigure for the different needs of all those different parts of the company. Building blocks and software are how you do it. So there was a team who was tasked with figuring this out. And they came to Signal last year. And in fact, they were inspired by many of you out there who showed them what was possible with software. And during many workshops throughout the course of the last year, they created proofs of concept to test their hypothesis that they could use software and could use APIs and building blocks to build the next generation call center, and prove that the agile model would truly allow them to throw out their legacy solutions and create a truly unique, first in its industry, omnichannel customer experience for all of their business units. Theo Frieswick, Rutger de Smet, Peter Schraver, Hessel Dijkstra are the doers who made that possible, who proved to ING that they could migrate their global call center and innovate with the power of software. They are our third doer of 2016. Let's hear it. Awesome. It's so cool to see such a big company innovating at the pace that they are innovating. I wouldn't have thought it was possible. It's amazing. All right, next up, I want to introduce Patrick Malatak, the Vice President of Products here at Twilio, to talk to you about some of the things that we have been working on.
Hello, folks. As Jeff said, my name's Patrick, and I head up the product team here at Twilio. And I'm really excited today to unveil some new products for you. These are things that we've been working on now for years. But before I do that, I want to take you back in time a little bit to tell you about how we got here. Let's start in 2008 with Twilio's first product, Programmable Voice. Programmable Voice empowered you to give your applications a voice, and with just a few lines of code and the web tools that you were already familiar with, you could go ahead and get started. In 2010, with the introduction of programmable SMS, all you needed was just a couple lines of code, and now you could build messaging directly into your applications. And over the years, these building blocks kept getting better. We added features like browser and mobile support for our voice product line. And we enhanced our messaging product line with things like shortcode and MMS. And really what this all came down to was that as developers, we want to be able to do more with less code. We want to be spending our time building the things that move the needle for our customers, not just doing all the other glue that we need to put in place to make it happen. And in 2015, we continued to add more building blocks to the Twilio platform. This allowed you to create new and differentiated customer experiences. Some of you asked for more access to our connectivity building blocks. And with the introduction of Elastic SIP trunking, you got full access directly to our super network, the one Jeff talked about earlier today. Now you have full control over a global, redundant voice connectivity platform in just minutes. Lookup was the next service we offered from the super network. Lookup provides basic phone number information and is useful for making routing decisions. You also asked for new communication primitives as well. And last year, you got access to IP messaging and programmable video. Creating a video conversation or a chat client application at global scale was easier than ever before. And some of you asked for higher level building blocks, so you could have Twilio do even more of the heavy lifting when it came to building your applications. And so last year we introduced Authy and TaskRouter, helping you secure your users and build your own contact centers with even more power and less code than ever before. And in March this year, you saw the launch of Twilio Interconnect, a dedicated connection to the Twilio cloud. Interconnect allows you to connect with Twilio in 4 different ways, with MPLS support, VPNs, cross-connect, or AWS on net. You can connect to Twilio on your own terms. And whether you're looking for simple connectivity or complex call orchestration, Twilio has the building blocks for your business. And although over the last few years we've gotten access to many, many new building blocks, we still woke up every day looking at all the amazing things that you were building and felt that there were more opportunities for us to help you do more with less code. One area in particular stood out, and that was integrating with partners. We all know that building engaging communication experiences requires many building blocks, in addition to the ones that Twilio provides for you. And we think that working with third-party building blocks should be just as easy as working with Twilio's. And so today, we're announcing the ability to extend Twilio, enabling third-party building blocks through something that we're calling add-ons. Add-ons enable you to combine the features and functionality of other services directly into your Twilio applications. There's no need to redesign your communication flows. All you need to do is log into the console, and you can enable add-ons for a given product. As soon as you click that install button, the third-party functionality will be available directly in your Twilio application. All right, so what do these add-ons look like? Well, there's 3 different types of add-ons that Twilio supports today. The first is number add-ons. Number add-ons allow you to integrate third-party phone number data directly into your Twilio applications. This gives you access to a wealth of information around phone numbers, like you're able to check to see if they're fraudulent numbers or spam numbers, and this helps you with your call routing decisions and your application logic. You can route the things that you might think are fraudulent or spam or robocalls to one part of your call center, and you can route the other things directly to your agents. The next type of add-on is message add-ons. Message add-ons enable you to access the content of a message and perform analysis, returning the results to a Twilio application, enabling things like the ability to detect the language of a given inbound message via third-party providers. You can use that language information to route to the appropriate agent as well. And the final type of add-on that we're unveiling today is recording add-ons. Recording add-ons allow third parties to analyze your existing call recordings, giving them access to those recordings and allowing you to get more meaning out of your existing applications. So let's take a look at how add-ons work as part of your call flows. Add-ons in Programmable Voice allow you to invoke partner functionality for every inbound call that comes to the Twilio network. Before Twilio sends a webhook back to your application, we will go invoke the third-party partner, collect some data, and then we'll pass that data back along with the webhook when we hit your application. And imagine being able to wipe away unwanted calls with Phone Intelligence, an add-on from White Pages Pro. Phone Intelligence helps identify robocalls or telemarketers, letting you determine which calls get through. And Phone Intelligence is one of just almost a dozen add-ons available for Programmable Voice. And on recordings, what do we have to offer? For recording add-ons, we have partners like IBM and VoiceBase that will allow you to get deeper insights into your calls with almost no development work at all. Just the push of a button in the Twilio Console, and you can start getting more meaning out of your applications. So how does this work in messaging? Well, in messaging, it works almost the same as it is for voice. Twilio will invoke the partner functionality, giving third parties access to things like your message bodies, and then we'll webhook back with the results of the analysis from those third parties to your applications. This allows our partners like IBM, who we're going to hear from shortly, to analyze the sentiment of a given message, helping you prioritize which customers you should prioritize a conversation with. A number of add-ons are also available on SMS, just like voice. Just the push of the button in a Twilio Console, and your messaging apps will get a whole lot smarter. Well, what about those of you that want to access add-on functionality through direct queries? Well, add-ons also have support for lookup as well. This is great for getting information before you start a communication session. We have an add-on provided by a partner, Payphone, that enables you to understand if a given mobile phone number has changed ownership. This helps you cut down on unwanted messages and calls and ensures that you remain compliant with things like TCPA. We think that with add-ons and the new capabilities they provide for your Twilio applications, developers will be able to do things they could never do before. So who wants to see it live in action? Well, since this is an add-ons demo, we're going to need a partner on stage with us. So allow me to invite up Elliot Turner from IBM, who's going to tell you a little bit about how the IBM Watson message sentiment analysis works.
Thanks, Patrick. So we're super excited to be announcing this partnership with Twilio today. You know, at the Watson Group, we believe that cognitive technology has the potential to change the world. But it's only through all of you, through putting it in the hands of developers, that we're going to make that happen. So today we're going to show 2 new add-ons, one on stage, but 2 available in the marketplace, that allow you to understand your SMS stream in ways that you never imagined before. Watson's cognitive technology will be brought down from the cloud and put into your app. So you don't have to worry about the heavy lifting of deep neural networks, artificial intelligence, or doing these things at scale. Ultimately, we take your SMS data and in future your voice and your other data, and we're going to apply our advanced algorithms to that to understand what's going on. The positive and negative emotions being expressed, who it's talking about, what it's talking about, and where it's talking about. This ultimately will allow you to transform what's possible in your applications. So, today we're going to show a live demo of our message sentiment add-on, which is pretty cool. All of you can actually participate in this demo today.
Yeah, so if you guys could switch over to the computer and you can have a look at this application. So here we have a web app that we've built, and you'll see this fancy-looking spaceship here on it. And the way that this demo is going to work is the following. You see this shortcode right here. You'll be able to text into that shortcode. And what Twilio will be doing once we add the IBM Watson Sentiment Analysis add-on is we'll analyze the sentiment of the message. This spaceship is fueled by your positive energy. So you need to send in messages that have positive thoughts, and that will help us fuel it. So you can see right now, some of you are already texting in. We haven't added add-ons just yet, so we're not able to get that positive energy that you're sending our way. So let's go ahead and add add-ons to this application, and we'll show you how in just a few lines of code, we're able to integrate the IBM technology. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head over to the Twilio Console. So this is the brand new console that we recently started rolling out, and you're going to be hearing more about from Rob later today. The first thing that you're going to notice is there's this brand new section in the account portal called add-ons. So I'm going to go navigate to the add-ons, and you'll see there's a whole collection of add-ons that are available inside the add-ons marketplace. So I'm going to go ahead and click the IBM Watson Message Sentiment add-on. You'll see with just a few clicks of a button, there's an install button here. I'm going to go ahead and add this functionality to my Twilio application. Great. So what we just did there is now every webhook that's coming to this application now includes an extra JSON object that includes the add-on properties that we've added. You can add multiple different add-ons to the same application. So you'll still, if we switch over to this demo here, you'll see that there's still not anything going on. Why? We haven't changed any of our code. So even though now our applications are getting this data, it's not doing anything with it. So let's jump over and change some code here. So this is a pretty simple application. It just has a GET request, which loads that page that you just saw, and then POST requests that are coming to the shortcode are routed directly to this SMS route here. So we're going to go ahead and add a few more lines. We go var add-ons equals JSON.parse, and we'll grab the request dot body. And then there is a new property here, add-ons. Great. So that should load in the add-on object that we're passing to your application. And the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a new variable here called Watson. And Watson is just going to be add-ons.results. And the reason there's this results object is that you could have multiple different add-ons there. So we want to specify that we only want to get access to the IBM Watson add-on. So we're going to switch over to the account portal and see how we specify that. So each add-on has a unique name. IBM Watson Sentiment is the name of this add-on. So that's the object we want to access here. And then we want the result of that request. OK. And let's go down here. So there's one more thing that we need to do here. And that is, right now we're using Socket.io to emit these SMSs into the browser session there. So now we want to go ahead and make sure that we're emitting the sentiment as well. So let's go over here. And let's do sentiment. And that's going to be Watson. And now we're accessing that Watson object that was returned to us. So inside Twilio, you can go to the documentation, and you can see what that object looks like. And you'll see here that there is this value here called doc sentiment, and a bunch of different properties underneath it, like type, score, and mixed. We're going to go ahead and access that, and for this demo, we care about type. Elliot, I don't know if you could tell them a little bit about what is returned in that doc sentiment there.
Absolutely. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes when you're analyzing your SMS messages here. Ultimately, in addition to positive and negative polarity of the expression, we're providing you an intensity score to help you understand how strong of an emotion is being expressed, and also a mixed flag that allows us to understand those more nuanced statements. Maybe someone's expressing positivity and negativity at the same time. Ultimately, these messages go into the Watson cloud, where they're analyzed by thousands of computers in parallel, where we use artificial neural networks employing the latest in deep learning technology to understand what your customers and users are saying. This allows us to take the cognitive technology that was once in the ivory tower of the world's greatest corporations and put it in the hand of everyone, furthering our democratization mission.
Great. So you can see now these emojis are indicating the positive sentiment that you're all texting in, and we're using the power of that positive sentiment to propel this rocket forward. There are also lasers. Lasers are negative sentiment, so no one texted anything negative. Oh no, we got hit.
Oh!
Keep texting in. We got to get this thing into hyperdrive, but no negative sentiments. We do not need lasers. Oh no, there goes another. Just missed us. You can see the power bar here. Oh no! Oh no!
Keep texting!
There we go! Great, there we go, hyperdrive. We are now at warp speed.
So we're super excited about this initial partnership, but this is really just the first of many things to come. In future months, you're going to have Watson able to transcribe the speech in your voice communications, translate languages, automate dialogue and other interactions, and many, many other things. So we're excited to be working with Twilio, and we're excited, more importantly, to see what all of you, the world's developers, do with this great technology.
Thank you again, Elliot.
Thank you.
Great to have Watson working on our demo here. So that's add-ons, and that's really just the start. In the coming months, we're going to be creating new integration points for add-ons, so that it'll work with things like IP messaging as well. And we're also working on making new add-on types available to you, like giving access to third parties real-time audio streams, enabling things like speech recognition services or even voicemail detection. Across all the add-on types, we have 20 different add-ons that are available from almost a dozen different partners. With add-ons, 1 million developers Twilio accounts just got a whole lot better. So I know what many of you are thinking. How do I build my own add-ons? Well, add-ons is part of a marketplace for anyone who wants to put new functionality into the hands of 1 million developers powering the future of communications. When you publish your add-on, you will be able to get to set the price for that add-on and determine which functionality you include. You can bundle in one add-on, or you could split it up across multiple different add-ons through the marketplace. The add-on will then be vetted by the Twilio team and later added to the marketplace for broader consumption. So if you have unique capabilities that can change communications, and you want to make those capabilities available on billions of transactions, we encourage you to sign up and become a publisher in our add-on marketplace. So if you're interested in becoming a publisher, please head over to twilio.com/marketplace. Get yourself registered and start enabling new communication experiences with just the push of the button. We will be inviting more and more publishers to add their unique capabilities to the Twilio platform in the coming months. And for the rest of the Twilio developers out there, please go and check out the Marketplace tab inside the Twilio console. Start adding third-party building blocks to your Twilio applications today. Now, next I want to invite up Rob Spector, who's going to walk you through some of the brand new additions that we've been putting in place as part of our developer experience.
Woo! Man, Pat Malatak dropping some Node.js code. I never thought I'd see the day, dude. Man, that demo was out of this world. Boom! Ooh, that felt great. That felt great. Man, I tell you what, we have a bag of goodies for all you Twilio developers out there. Since last we talked at Signal, we've been hard at work putting together a brand new developer experience, a reimagined experience for you as the Twilio developer to get started building Twilio applications, to get those applications into production, and to troubleshoot them once they're there. And we're dead excited to show you these new tools here today at Signal. Now, folks that you know me know I'm not a big fan of the PowerPoint. So if it's okay with you, we're going to ditch the deckware and we're going to show you right now with some of the people who built these tools what you can use right now to build on Twilio faster than ever before. Does that sound good to y'all? All right, let's bring them out. Zaya Fogel, Kevin Winnery, Carter Rabasa, why don't you come out and show them what you've been up to? Woo! High five train! High five train! Oh, Zaya, you've been up to some crazy shenanigans over on the console. What's been going on?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Zaya, and I'm the product manager on the console team, where we have been hard at work launching an all-new Twilio Console. And you know, Twilio started out as just 2 products. Now we have over 10 products, and we're growing all the time. So that's something that's really impressive, that we needed to actually be able to build and have a web interface and a user experience that would scale with us as we grow. And that's what this new console really does.
Awesome.
So I want to make sure that we get a chance to really see this. So let's dig in and see this console. So when you land into the console, you're given this home page, which is a dashboard, a centralized dashboard, with a left side navigation element that has all of your navigation all in one place. If you click into the product menu here, you'll see you have access to all of your Twilio products and services. And now you have the ability to pin the products that you use frequently, making sure that they're accessible so that you can use them wherever you go within the console.
Oh, so when you pin one of the products, it stays on the left-hand nav, like it persists during your entire session inside the console, so you can get to the Twilio products you want to work with the most.
That's
anywhere
right.
Inside. This is going to be fantastic.
Super
My
cool.
mom pins stuff all the time. She's going to love this.
Your mom is going to be a power Twilio user here.
Power Twilio user.
So yeah, now that we have all these extra products, and we're adding a couple new cool ones over the coming days that you're going to hear about, we really wanted to make sure that we had a good getting started experience across our entire product suite. And I want to show you one new one that we've created. And this is a getting started wizard for SMS, to onboard with SMS. And so first things first, we want you to get your first Twilio phone number. I've already got mine, so I'll skip that step. The next thing that we want you to do is learn to send a message. So I'll go ahead and enter some message body here, hello Signal, and make that request. And yep, there. Twilio goes ahead and does that request on my behalf. We guide you through this step by step to make sure that you understand how to now process incoming messages, teaching you a little bit about Twilio's markup language, TWIML, within the process.
So it's like a friendly little Sherpa, like guiding you through your first experience using a Twilio product. That's amazing.
It is. It's pretty cool, and we're really excited about that.
Man, I'm really excited to log in too. This is going to be great. Whoa! God,
back.
Great time.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And we think this is something that's going to be really useful across all the brand new getting started pages as you really get these things going.
Oh, awesome. Now, you've been working on a few experiences for people who are new to Twilio, but as I understand, we've got new insights for folks who are advanced Twilio users.
That's right. So once you're down and going with a product, We know that as developers, you want to be able to dig into the details of your applications. And so we're now giving you extra information and a whole new level of transparency into your Twilio applications. So we're now showing you the delivery steps that your Twilio message goes through as it's transitioning through the Twilio infrastructure, including how long it took at each of those steps.
Oh man, so you can see when the message arrives in the Twilio platform, you can see when it's placed on the queue for your account, and then finally when it's delivered to the carrier. It's like a telescope inside your SMS workflow. That's great.
It's totally true, and it's going to be really amazing to get this extra information for you when you're trying to debug things. So one more thing that I wanted to show you, and that's in our brand new Developer Center. And this is really cool because you used to have to stand up a server every time you wanted to get a quick test going. Well, one popular solution to this was twimlbin.com, which made it really easy to write static TWIML, and you didn't ever have to stand up a server. Well, I'm happy to say...
I thought a TWIML bin is where Jeff Lawson puts his dirty laundry.
That could be true, actually.
I thought he puts it in the TWIML bin. I think he puts it in the TWIML bin.
He might actually stand up a server. That's possible. He might stand up a server.
Good joke.
Hey, good pie.
So I'm happy to announce that we have been partnering with the team at TWIMLbin to make sure that we have the TWIMLbin application as a native experience within Twilio. So now you can test and prototype easily without having to leave the console. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new TWIMLbin here. I'm going to give it a friendly name. Hello, Signal. Whoop.
Hey, you can whistle. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's all
So
good.
I'm going to actually just type some response code here.
Wow, so inside this little block, you can write any TWIML response to any webhook without standing up your own web application or your own server.
Yep, that's it.
Man, this text message is gigantic, by the way. It is huge.
So there we go. We've got some valid TWIML here. And I'll go ahead and save that out. It tells me it's valid.
Okay, but where does this go when you...
So the cool thing is that Twilio manages storing this for you. So now you don't have to stand up a server. All you need to do now is go into your phone number and configure it just like you would with a webhook. Instead of configuring on a webhook, though, I'll go ahead and bring up my phone number here and configure this messaging via TWIML. And I'll select the TWIMLbin here, hello Signal, save that out.
What?
Bam, you are ready to go and prototype, all without having to leave the console.
Man, prototype any static TWIML response directly in the console.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Oh man, I'm so stoked to see this community project now brought into the fold as a native Twilio experience. This is unbelievable. Kevin, that's going to be a tough act to follow, bud.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Now, you've been working at Twilio for a while. You've been watching developers use the documentation for a few years now. What have you learned?
Something incredibly unsurprising, which is that when developers read documentation, they're going straight to the code. As Rob said, my name is Kevin, and I work on the developer education team here at Twilio, and we've been very hard at work over the last year remixing our documentation content to put code first. Now, earlier this year, we launched a new tutorial format which takes you step by step through full example Twilio applications. Not the dictionary, that's kind of a strange feature, but you can step through Twilio applications in the programming languages and frameworks you use to build your applications today and see how to build real Twilio use cases from two-factor authentication to call tracking. So if you haven't had a chance to check out tutorials, I would definitely recommend that you do so. There's over 150 of them out there. There's bound to be one that you can pick up and learn from. But today for Signal, we're actually dropping a few more features that we hope will also put code first in the rest of your documentation experience. Now, the first thing you're likely to notice is a new desktop responsive design that gives code samples plenty of room to breathe on your large external monitor, but also resizes nicely to work alongside your text editor when you're working on your laptop on the plane.
Wow, so if you have a text editor that's just 80 columns, you get one experience, but if you're using a more fully featured IDE like Visual Studio or Eclipse, the documentation will make room to make sure that you can read the documentation and write the code at the same time.
That's the idea, and we know no two developers have exactly the same development environment, so we've also designed both a light and a dark theme for the documentation. So you can... I know, so
wait a minute. Go back to the dark.
Okay, back to dark.
Okay, go back to the light.
Light? Oh, I think
okay, I want to use this light board. Let's do this. Okay, just go back and forth.
One. The system is down.
Disco Docs, y'all! Disco Docs! This is great!
I'd be lying if I said that was the first time that we did that, but it's really fun. I recommend that you try that as well. But in addition to the fresh coat of paint that's been put on the documentation, we've also added a few more features to help you drill down to the content you're looking for more quickly. So as Zaya mentioned, Twilio used to have 2 products. Now we have 10. Navigating to the documentation content that you're looking for can be challenging when there's so much of it out there. So we've allowed you to filter the documentation content based on the products you use. So if I use voice and video and I'm a mobile developer, I can very quickly see the content that is for me here on the Quick Start page. And when I drill down and read the content that I'm looking for and go back, those same filters that I used will be persistent across my entire visit to the documentation, my return visits. So I'm always seeing the documentation content tailored for me.
Wow, so instead of a gigantic left-hand nav, you instead pick the products, the server-side languages, and the client platforms that you're targeting, and then you only see the documentation that's relevant to you.
Yeah, right. You can do it on Amazon. You should be able to do it in your documentation as well. So,
that's righteous. Now, what if I know exactly what I'm looking for?
If you have a sense of what you're looking for, we've provided a site-wide search, and even if you don't know what you're looking for, we have a site-wide search functionality, so you can look for common tasks like sending messages with an image, which is something you can do with our MMS product. And here in the search results, we don't only just show you the pages with the content you're looking for, we also embed the code samples directly within the search results, so you can see the code samples that are most likely to be helpful to you directly there in the search.
Wow, that's amazing. So in the languages that these code samples are available with, you can get them in just a single search query, copy and paste, and get going without having to dig into any of the tertiary nav to find it.
That's, sometimes that's what the developers are looking for, is just a piece of code that they can use. We try to make that as easy as possible.
Wow, code first search inside the documentation. Let's give it up for Kevin, the developer education team. Wow. How we doing, Carter? We're doing pretty good, bud?
I'm doing awesome, Rob.
Man, I would not want to be third if I were you. No pressure. I mean, it's just like a packed crowd here at Pier 27.
Well,
it's not going to be a big deal or anything. Just got to show them something fantastic. That's what you got to do.
That is a tough act to follow, but I'm going to do my best.
You've been working on some really, really rad stuff with troubleshooting Twilio apps. What's been going on?
That's right. Hi, everyone. My name is Carter Rabasa, and I'm the product manager for the API tools team here at Twilio. And as Rob alluded to, we have been building an amazing new debugging experience for Twilio developers. But before I can show it to you, I actually have to create a bug. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go back to the TWIML bin that Zaya created so flawlessly, and I'm going to go out of my way to insert a bug into this TWIML document.
Man, that is a very literal bug.
That is, it couldn't be more literal. TWIML bin is screaming at me that this is invalid TWIML, but I'm going to completely ignore the advice of TWIML bin, and I'm going to save this. And now, here's where I need everybody's help. First, please take out your phones. Hopefully you still have it open from Pat's demo. And I want you to think of the name of your favorite band.
Oh,
and
I love this.
And I would love for you to type the name of your, text the name of your favorite band to the number that you see on the screen. Just imagine that we built a Twilio application where you text in the name of your favorite band and you get back upcoming tour dates in the city that you live in. This is a Twilio application all of you could build today. And the canonical Twilio demo experience is that you would be texting into this number and you would be getting a reply. However, I'm going to guess that none of you have gotten a reply right now.
Womp, womp.
Yeah, and by the way, that's good. Twilio is working. However, my app is broken. So as a developer, this is incredibly frustrating. Luckily, there is now a visual indicator in the top nav telling me as a developer, hey, an error has occurred with your account. So why don't we dive into this error and see exactly what's going on? And that will bring us to the Gnu Debugger. So the first thing that you're going to see are all of the errors that have occurred in your Twilio account over the last 24 hours. And lo and behold, we have a bit of a spike in errors right here in the last few minutes. Thank you so much. And you can click into any one of these errors and instantly see exactly what the error was, what some of the possible causes might be, some possible solutions. You can even see the entire HTTP request and response for that error.
Now, well, hey, give it up. I love seeing the documentation right next to the error messages. That is super helpful. But obviously, when you have a Twilio app of even moderate complexity, you probably have 15, 20 different webhooks that you're going to be answering. How do I find the errors that are occurring for a specific endpoint.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you're using multiple Twilio products, you're setting a bunch of webhooks. Some of them are voice webhooks, SMS webhooks. Knowing that an error happened isn't enough. So now we make it really easy for you as a developer to take all of these errors and collapse them and group them by the actual webhook URL itself.
Oh, thank you, Carter.
Thank you! You can see every part of your application that is experiencing a problem, exactly how many errors it has experienced, and even how recently it experienced the error. So for instance, this third voice webhook seems like it's having a hard time. So as a developer, I can instantly click on this, and now I have a filtered view of all of the errors just for that one voice webhook.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So you're getting insight not just into what's broken with your Twilio account, not what's broken into your Twilio app, but the individual components of that Twilio app.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We think this is going to be awesome for developers because the entire mission is to help you debug the problem as fast as you can so you can get back to coding. But there's another thing I'd love to share with you. This filtered view, you don't have to stop with webhooks. You can actually filter on many more things. But first, I'd like to tell you a story.
Oh, I love stories.
I'd like to tell you a story about this awesome Twilio app for getting concert dates and how you've launched it and it's doing great. And one of your users, this punk rock guy from Brooklyn, reaches out to you on the Twitters and he tells you, Carter, your app is busted.
Dude, your app's busted.
And this hurts. Yeah, he's one of those angry Twitter people. and you know, you immediately want to fix this problem. So you reach out to him and you say like, hey, Rob, can you please tell me what you texted in? Because I really want to dive into this. And he tells you what the name of his favorite band was, which apparently is, there's a band called Rancid. I had no idea. This is a weird thing.
Hey,
and boom, you actually see all of the errors associated with those text messages that came in because of the full text search capability of the Gnu Debugger.
Wait, back up. So if your security settings are set appropriately, you can perform full text search on all the errors your Twilio account is. Can you search by phone number?
You can search by phone number, call SID, SMS SID. You can search by virtually everything. In fact, perhaps you're hearing that a bunch of your users in the Emerald City of Seattle are having problems. No problem. You can see all the errors that are taking place in and around Seattle.
Wow, full text search inside the debugging experience at Twilio. Let's give it up for Carter and the DevTools team. Wow. So that's what we got, folks. A brand new developer experience from Twilio. Reimagined from front to back to make it faster to get started with Twilio, to get that app into production, and then troubleshoot it once it's there faster than ever before. That's pretty cool, right? All right. Now, this has been the work of over 50 people on 5 different teams at Twilio, and all of them care about one feature in particular in this experience, and that's the one at the very top. It's the one that says give feedback. We can't wait to hear about your experience with the new developer experience from Twilio. Thank you guys so much. I kind of feel like one more product. Do you guys feel like one more product? All right. Well, this one is going to blow your hair back, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to call up El Jefe himself, your Twilio CEO. Let's give it up for Jeff Lawson!
All right. Wow. That was some really cool stuff. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Pat, for introducing us to a bunch of cool Twilio new things. And in fact, there's a bunch of things going on here at Twilio, and I want to talk about one kind of thing in particular, and that's the Internet of Things. The thing that makes things into the Internet of Things is, of course, the Internet. So you have to connect them wirelessly somehow to that network, and there's basically 3 ways that most IoT applications connect to the Internet: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular wireless. In fact, most IoT devices today use short-range radio technologies like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to connect to the Internet, about 95% of IoT devices. There's a few problems, though, with it. First of all, of course, they only work where you have a router for Wi-Fi, right, at home or at the office, but it doesn't work if the thing is traveling with you. With Bluetooth, it works if you're near your phone, but what about applications where you're not near it? Things like farming, agriculture, industrial. Right? So there's a lot of problems with how these things get deployed, but also a lot of problems with how you end up using them. See, I don't know if your Wi-Fi is anything like mine. I've got to restart, like turn off Wi-Fi and turn it back on about a dozen times a day. Restart my router sometimes. Bluetooth, I always have to repair the devices. It's kind of annoying. It's annoying when you've got a laptop with a screen and a keyboard and all that, and you can fix it. But imagine a device embedded somewhere. Doesn't have a screen, doesn't have a keyboard. When they stop working suddenly, it's a really hard, annoying problem to solve because your IoT just lost its eye. And that sucks. So what about cellular wireless? Cellular wireless is actually a great solution. Why? Because it just works. First of all, you take a device out of its box, turn it on, and it connects to the internet. There's no SSIDs, PK, SK, IT, whatever you have to configure, none of that. No pairing. It just works. And it works pretty much everywhere. We've wired up almost this entire planet with wireless connectivity. It's amazing. No, so the technology isn't the problem. The problem with wireless, cellular wireless, is the carriers. In particular, the carrier's business model. How innovators can work with them. See, if you're a hacker and you want to start building a prototype, you can walk into 7-Eleven and buy a SIM card, or walk into a carrier store and get a plan, like the $50 a month voice, text, data, throw it in a device and start building. That works for one card. But where are you going to get the next 10, 100, 1,000, million cards to actually take that idea and ship it to production and scale it? Right? Now you can go work with the carriers, but they're not designed to work with innovators. You have to commit large sums of money up front. You have to spend long periods of time negotiating with them, all before you even have an idea that customers have told you is any good. And as we all know, as developers, experimentation is the prerequisite to innovation. You have to be able to get started very easily with little friction and little cost. And then when your idea takes off, be able to seamlessly scale it up to millions. You need stable, documented, well-loved APIs that are the foundation you can build on. You need elastic cloud infrastructure behind it that can scale with you. I think you see where I'm going with this. It's about time we did some Twilio to IoT. Introducing Twilio Programmable Wireless. That's right, Twilio-powered SIM cards. Now, what this is a programmable wireless network for 2G, 3G, and LTE. And in the United States, we're bringing it to the market in a partnership with T-Mobile. Now let's look at what the components are of Twilio's programmable wireless product. So first of all, you've got SIM cards, you've got data, voice, text, and commands. These are the 5 parts of Twilio programmable wireless. Now, you wouldn't be able to achieve the innovation that we think is possible without 2 things. First, a business model for innovation, and second, great APIs to build on. Let's talk first about the business model for innovation. So there's 5 components of Twilio Programmable Wireless, and here's how they work. First of all, SIM cards, the physical hardware. Your first SIM card costs $5. That's for you to start hacking with. And when it gets time to scale it up and ship it at scale, those become less than $1 a piece. And we have APIs for you to order them and even order them at scale. So those are the SIM cards themselves. Next, data. And data is really interesting. So first of all, we've got a plan that's measured in gigabytes. So this plan is just $25 per month per SIM card and includes a gigabyte of data. For additional gigabytes, it's just $15 a gig. That works great for high bandwidth applications. But many applications for IoT only SIP data. They don't need a lot of bandwidth. In fact, the average use case for like fitness trackers, they only take about 5, 10 megabytes a month. And so we have a different plan for those kinds of use cases. The megabyte plan. It's just $2 a month per SIM and 10 cents per megabyte. And all of these prices decline with volume. All right, so next, voice and messaging. Voice and messaging are actually really easy. They're exactly the same as our pricing for voice and messaging in the United States today. 1.5 cents a minute for phone calls to a device, and 0075 for a text message sent to a device. And then the last bit is the commands API. And commands allow you to reach the device wirelessly without having a full TCP/IP connection. It doesn't use the data, it just sends commands to the device in a very power-efficient way. And commands cost just half a penny per command sent to or from the device. And as always, with everything Twilio, the business model is no minimums, no contracts, no commitments, and volume tiers that decrease your price at scale. Now, before we move on, I want to introduce another company and a friend of Twilio's. That company is Particle. Particle is doing for hardware hackers and makers what Twilio does for software developers. They have a prototyping board that you can use to prototype and build IoT devices, and then when you're ready to take it production, help you to produce it at scale. So please join me in welcoming the CEO and founder of Particle, Zach Supala. Zach, welcome. So first, tell us a little bit about Particle.
Yeah, so Particle is an Internet of Things platform. We make it easy to create physical hardware that's connected to the internet. And over the last couple of years, we've shipped more than 100,000 development kits for creating Wi-Fi and cellular connected products. We've built a developer community of 70,000 developers building products on the Particle platform. And every day, new products are shipped from Fortune 500, small businesses, and entrepreneurs that are powered by Particle. And one of the things that we've learned over the course of this is how difficult it is to build connected hardware. There's so many things you have to build. There's the hardware itself, that you have to wire up your sensors to your microcontrollers, wrap it in plastic, manufacture it, ship them out to customers. There's so much involved in just the hardware. And then there's the apps, the iOS app, the Android app, the web app that's going to interface with your product, and a million layers in between. There's firmware, there's protocols, there's encryption, there's message routing, APIs, data collection. So there's so much to build. But the hardest thing for a cellular connected product is getting the data plan and the SIM card, because it's not a technical challenge, it's a business problem. You have to sit in front of a carrier, you have to convince them that you're worth their time and energy, that you should even be able to see the pricing, and you don't know if your product is viable until you actually figure out what it's going to cost you to power the product. So we're so excited to see what Twilio is doing with programmable wireless, with transparent pricing, flexible, powerful SIMs, and something that you can use for your first prototype and that you can also scale with.
Yeah, it's amazing because every, whether it's hardware or the software side, every big idea starts small.
Exactly. It all starts with a prototype.
Awesome. And so you've had actually cellular connectivity as part of Particle for the past few years.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, we had to deal with it ourselves. We had to go negotiate with carriers. We talked to all the big carriers in the US and in Europe. And we wouldn't have been able to get a deal if we didn't already bring a large developer community that they were interested in. But we're really excited to announce that later in 2016, Particle's Electron development platform will be powered by the Twilio Programmable Wireless platform.
Awesome. Awesome. It is so cool. We are really excited to be working with Particle on this because their boards are awesome. If any of you haven't tried them yet, seriously, you're going to love them. Cool. Please give it up for Zach, the CEO and founder of Particle.
Thanks, Zach.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so we talked before about how there's two parts to Twilio Programmable Wireless that enable innovation, the business model and the APIs. So let's talk about the APIs. We're introducing a new API today called the Device API. The Device API is what allows you to interact with these SIM cards in a wide variety of ways. In fact, there's 3 types of APIs here. First are the lifecycle APIs. These are APIs that let you do things like provision and deprovision and set the rate plans for these SIM cards that allow you to integrate with the lifecycle of when your customers are buying and deploying the products. The second API is what I mentioned before, this commands API. And it's really cool because a lot of IoT use cases are very power sensitive and bandwidth sensitive. And so the commands allow you to send a command from the cloud, wake up the device, even if it's asleep, run some code on the device, and you can even send commands back from the device up to the cloud. So it's a really power efficient way to get little bits of data on and off of those devices. And then the third part of the API is REST and TWIML for voice and messaging. And yep, it works exactly like you'd expect it to. And of course, all of these APIs come with everything you'd expect from Twilio, right? The easy helper libraries, SDKs, and all the languages, but also things like sub-accounts that allow you to meter every customer independently, our usage APIs, usage triggers to tell you when customers are using and going over their caps, monitor, our brand new debugger, all those tools are available to you as you're building these applications. So let's talk about timing really quickly. So the lifecycle APIs and the commands API are in developer preview today. And the REST and TWIML integrations are coming soon. And we cannot wait to get it in your hands because this is really cool. Now, we've talked a bit about the use cases for Internet of Things. But things aren't the only things that need internet. People do too. And so there are so many use cases for Twilio Programmable Wireless that we can imagine because there's so many different things you can do. In fact, we've talked about some of these embedded devices use cases, right? Things like when you put wireless into cars and farming equipment, infrastructure, manufacturing use cases, health trackers, personal devices. There's all these use cases that we typically think of as Internet of Things. But there's also these really great opportunities in scenarios like bring your own device with phones and tablets. Because you can also put these SIM cards into any old phone or tablet that is now going to be powered by Twilio Programmable Wireless. So you can do all these cool things. So you address these devices by the device primitive. And then you get to map how phone numbers interact with those devices. So you can, for example, map any Twilio phone number to a device, and you get a cell phone. But you can also map, 100 phone numbers to that device, and a phone that'll actually ring if people call from anywhere in the world, and you can put a phone number, in every city, in every country that you want. It can all map to that one cell phone number. You can also, get this, you can also map 0 phone numbers to that device and build an app that dials only by device IDs so you can create this internal network that's only dialable from the inside and that nobody from the outside can actually address. There's some really cool things. What about you can also record all those phone calls or log all those text messages, which is great for regulated industries like banking, where you actually have compliance that you have when you've got a desk phone. And there's all these rules about how you have to store that data. But once someone picks up their cell phone, all that data is lost. Well, you can now power that with Twilio Programmable Wireless. Think about the add-ons we just announced. Right, with a few clicks in the portal, you could add sentiment analysis to all the text messages you get from your mom. Or you could plug in one of those phone number add-ons and block all spam phone calls with just a few clicks. Isn't that cool? Truly, the opportunities are endless. We're also going to have later a data API that lets you specify how Twilio routes all the data coming off of these devices. So we can, for example, route it to your own data center. So you can run it through your firewalls and your compliance engines to do exactly as you would treat your own internal company network. Man. And then, of course, the last category are things that we have not even thought of yet. Because when you think about what you can do, when you have full programmable access to the core of a mobile carrier, it kind of blows your mind. It really does. This is so cool. And at Twilio, we don't think the world needs another mobile carrier. But we think it is quite possible that the world needs thousands of microcarriers, all filling the needs of certain verticals, certain use cases, or even inside of companies. Every enterprise may have their own wireless carrier to implement their compliance and their rules. Man, that's the kind of stuff you can do with Twilio Programmable Wireless. We can't wait to see what you build. So let's take a look. So we've got some phones here that are wired up to Twilio Programmable Wireless. And what I've got here is a TWIML document, just like any TWIML document you might know and love. dials a phone number, and it records the call, and it logs that call to Salesforce. In fact, this is a classic application that a lot of sales teams may use. And it plays the recording notice at the beginning of the call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from just dialing a static phone number here to using a template here. And what happens is when you dial a phone number from a mobile phone with a Twilio programmable wireless SIM in it, what we actually send from the device to your Twiml app is the string, the digits that the person dialed. And now you can do things with it. So here I'm going to actually insert this into the template. So I can say request.params.2. So that will be the phone number that the person dialed in the dialer of their phone. Now I'm going to switch over to a web browser here. And I'll load it up locally and make sure I didn't make any typos. And in fact, I'm going to give it a little 2 parameter here. See that it pops up? There we go. Okay, so my Twiml is good. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this phone here. And this phone is 14% charged. And I'm going to take this phone and I'm going to make a phone call to it. And this phone, the Twilio SIM in this phone is wired up to the script that I just wrote there. And so I'm going to open up Apple Maps here. I'm going to search for Phil's Coffee. There it is. Let's see, there's Phil's. Now I'm going to give Phil's a call. Come on, answer your phone, Phils. Phils, we're running out of battery, okay? All right. No, I don't want directions. What I want to do is, I want to try calling Phil. Maybe we'll find a different Phil's. How about that? I think there were a bunch. How about that one? Front Street.
On front, this is Chris. How can I help you?
Hi there. How late are you open tonight?
Yeah, we're going to be open until 7 o'clock today.
Great. Would it be possible to order 2,000 lattes?
You have to come into the store to be able to do that, or through our order ahead app.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
There you go. You know, at Twilio, we always like to do the world's most dangerous live demo. And this year, the variable here was whether Phil's was going to answer the phone. All right, so now we can go over back to Salesforce here, and we can reload our tasks. And we see that we now have, well, we have 2 tasks in here, and you see in this task we have the call recording. So I'm going to click that.
On front, this is Chris. How can I help you?
Hi there, how about you open tonight?
Yeah, we're going to be open until 7 o'clock today.
Great. Would it be possible to order 2,000 lattes?
You have to come into the store to be able to do that, or through our order ahead app.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
There you go. So you can do things like, you know, log a call in Salesforce, which is an obvious thing, but let's actually go in here and we're going to blow out all of this. And instead of actually dialing the phone number that you asked, you know, when you typed it in the phone that you wanted it to dial, we're just going to play a file instead. We're going to play an MP3 that's been hidden in Twilio's API since the day we launched, Cowbell, that MP3. And I'm going to save that, and now I'm actually going to go into the dialer again. We see it? There we go, and I'm just going to redial that same phone number. Actually. And instead, we get Cowbell. So there you go, REST, TWIML, voice, messaging. It works exactly like you'd expect it to with Twilio. And I gotta say, this is so cool. You will have a blast playing with it. So that's voice and messaging and sort of these use cases around BYOD. But let's actually change and let's look at how you interact with devices and those device APIs. So what I've got here is a very simple script. It hits Twilio's REST API, and it pulls a list of all of the SIM cards that are assigned to my account using that device's API. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my terminal, I'm going to run this, and what we'll see is just a list of all the devices, all the SIM cards that are on my account. Great. But you can do more than just list your devices. Obviously, you can actually send commands to them. So I'm going to send a command. Twilio.preview.commands.create. And I'm going to send a command, and I'm going to give it the device, so the device.sid. And I'm going to send the command I want to send is wake up. There we go. So now I'm going to run the script again, and instead of just listing the devices, it's actually going to hit the API, and it's going to request that we wake up the devices. And so it's sending a command down to those devices, waking up the radio, and running some code that we have on those devices. And so as those commands are propagating through the network, what we'll see is that the devices get that command over the cellular network, and they don't even have to have a stateful IP connection running in order to be connected to the internet. They'll still get those commands. Now, a bunch of you, under your chairs, there should now be a glowing ball. Look under your chair. Hold it up. If you got one in your hand, hold it up. Hold it up so everybody can see it glowing. Now, we just met Zach from Particle. These are Particle Electron boards in here, wired up to those lights. And if you happen to sit in the seat that got one of these balls, you can take it home with you. You can hack on it. In fact, there's a booth in there later today. You can go, and they'll show you how to provision the SIM card to your own Twilio account, as well as the Particle device to a Particle account that you may have. And you can hack on these. If you happen to have a ball and you don't even know what this is all about, give it to someone who does. There's a website printed on the lanyard that gives you all sorts of instructions on how to hack these things. We call these the Internet of Bling. All right, so if you've got one, hold it up. Hold it up nice and high. Nice. All right. Now we're going to go back here, and instead of sending the wake up command, we're going to send the red command. I run that script again, and now it's going to send a command out to those devices, and there you go, as they all turn red. There we go. Now let me show you what's happening here, right? There's code running on that device. This is C++ code. And it's running on the device that listens for that message. When it gets that command, does what we want it to do. So basically, we have a small list of commands we have here: red, pink, white, rainbow, wake up, and there's one more. Disco? All right, hold those things up again. Disco. Let's get this party started.